Bigfoot, one of the biggest mysteries in cryptozoology. Is it real? Is it not? Is it a hoax? Is it people getting it set up? Who knows? Well, we might find out today as we're watching the 10 most shocking Bigfoot sightings and encounters that will make you stay indoors. This is from Top 5s, by the way, the man with the most soothing voice on the internet. Let's go.
Are you brave enough to venture into the woods alone? After watching this video, you might think twice, as we'll be exploring some fascinating evidence, discussing sightings, and sharing some intriguing stories about a legendary creature. So from eerie howls in the night to mysterious footprints and photographs, these true encounters will leave you believing in the existence of the ever-elusive Bigfoot. Grab your hiking boots and let's get going.
Here we go.
The Hickory Bigfoot sighting. In August 2019, Hickory resident and Bigfoot hunter Doug Teague filmed what he claims was one of the clearest videos of a North Carolina Bigfoot ever seen. Doug was walking his dog, Crazy Daisy, through woods just outside of the city.
Crazy Daisy, what a mint name for your dog.
He was checking some trail cams when he heard a loud knocking sound in the distance. As he got closer, he spotted an unrecognizable creature on top of a ridge and started to record it. He then followed the huge creature's footprints and took casts of them. Take a look.
Right.
He's still up here. Or something's up here.
I mean, you can definitely see a large figure here, but, you know, that could...
Moving.
Let's watch it on.
He's moving, he's moving, he's moving. Daisy, come here. Daisy, come here. I want to do a quick little video here. Me and Crazy Daisy has followed these tracks. This is the best one of them. I'm going to try to cast it. Stepped on a limb. And it goes. Let's see. Here's one. Right here.
What? Bro, what are you recording on? The like 640p potato or something, man? Like, come on. This is 144p shit right here.
Let's see. Here's another one. Right here. You can see a little bit where it's meshed. See the toes.
No, you really can't because the camera quality is god awful.
Claims as he approached the creature, it started throwing stones at him, not something a bear or any other animal would do. Later, the footprint casts were looked at by an anthropologist, who thought that the prints belonged to a creature around 15 foot tall.
Wow.
Other experts agreed the footprints looked genuine. So what do you think Doug saw? Could it really be a Bigfoot, or just another elaborate hoax?
I mean, that's... this is hard, isn't it? Because it's like, you know, we saw something ducking and, you know, it definitely didn't look about 15 foot tall from the video that we saw. Could have been crouching, but at the same time, there's not enough evidence there to prove anything, really. You know, there are so many Bigfoot hoaxes out there, it's impossible to know what's real, what's fake, and anything in between. So, I'm gonna err on the side of skepticism for this one. I just don't get the vibe. Number 2, come on, let's get better.
Bigfoot sighting in San Gabriel, California, 2020. In 2020, a hiker in the San Gabriel wilderness in California pulled out his camera to record the stunning landscape. But as he pans around, he spots something in the trees below and zooms in.
Okay.
The large creature appears to be about 10 to 15 feet, although strangely it doesn't appear to move. The area is not usually known for Bigfoot sightings. However, in 2018, a woman walking in San Bernardino Mountains, located about 70 miles east of San Gabriel, claims she also spotted a Sasquatch up in a tree. Here she is speaking about her experience.
That thing was huge. Whatever it was friggin' huge.
My daughters were about 10, 20 feet behind me, and as I turn around, I'm looking straight, and I see the creature on that tree. So what I do is I continue walking closer to try to tell myself, am I seeing a shadow, a tree scrum? At that point, I see his head turn, so I know that I'm not looking at a shadow. and this is where I stop, and this is where everything pretty much happened. This is where my daughter videotaped from your angle.
I swear to God. Mom? Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of weird. But, like, when you think of Bigfoot sightings, you don't think of it being that... this is where it gets hard, because you... I don't know. This is where it gets so difficult, because it's like, people are like, well, it can't be real because it's so brazen and it's so in your face, and... Damn, hit my table too hard. And then other people are all like, well, it must be real because obviously, like, look at it. It's, like, absolutely huge. A human couldn't dress up like that. And you're just like, well, where do you even sit with something like that, you know?
Could they be the same creature? Or is there a more plausible explanation? What do you think?
I mean, this one is weird. That's huge. It could be a bit of pareidolia, but I don't think it could be. Because if you look in the other bits of the trees here, you don't see anything that's, like, dark, physically cut out. Like, very broad shoulders, clearly a defined head, clearly 2 arms and a torso. You know, I think that could be... That first picture, definitely something, but that second video, I'm a bit more dubious. Number 3!
I think it's time to go. In 2015, a mushroom hunter got more than he bargained for whilst foraging in a mushroom forest in northern Illinois. Take a look at this footage he uploaded to his YouTube channel, Tomorrow's Garden.
And this one looks like it has a bite out of it. And this one.
Hey, that looks like a tasty pancake, I can't lie. No wonder animals are, like, stupid enough to eat these things. I'm stupid enough to eat this.
And there's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh?
That is blood curdling. What?
I think it's time to go.
I think so too.
It all seems pretty legit, although someone pointed out at the time, it sounded like it came from a movie. We're unsure on this one, although the mushroom hunter did do a follow-up video 6 years later, but this time nothing was heard. This one was featured on the History Channel, but what do you make of it?
I mean, it could be overlaid if someone's got, like, a channel that's, like, not necessarily doing great and they're foraging. What better to do than, like, you know, slap in a soundbite of what sounds like a Bigfoot while you're in the forest? Like, makes total sense, doesn't it? Makes total sense. Get that shit viral, you got a bussin' channel.
Bigfoot UK. Bigfoot is usually associated with rural mountainous areas in America. However, there have been several lesser-known sightings in the United Kingdom, and in 2021, Bigfoot enthusiast Lee Brickley says he found tracks and claw marks that prove an ape-like beast is living in the forests of Britain.
Okay.
He found the prints in Cannock Chase, Staffordshire, a 26 square mile forest that for centuries has been plagued with paranormal activity and supernatural phenomena, from child spirits to UFOs and werewolves, as well as sightings of a Yeti-like creature dating back to the 1800s. Take a look at the photos Lee took of the prints. Lee claims they measured a terrifying 41 centimeters from toe to heel, nearly twice the size of an average male footprint.
How do we know that, though? Like, let's be real. There's no rulers there to verify that. There's no tape measure. Like, if I was going to claim that I found a footprint that was 41 centimeters, which is absolutely friggin' enormous, by the way, I would have a ruler next to that shit to be like, look! Look at the size of this! Because it looks like a genuine foot, but I could take a picture of my feet, my little stubby size 8s, slap it on the internet and say, look! I found a 41 centimeter footprint.
And far too large to be from any animal native to the UK.
You know what they say about big feet, though? I'll leave that one with you.
About a month after spotting the footprints, Lee found huge claw marks on a tree in the same area. He said close by was a mutilated deer that was covered in bite marks and had its throat ripped out. Take a look at the claw marks. Reports of these sightings seem to have drastically increased in number since the beginning of 2019, with many believing there is some unknown creature roaming the forest of Cannock Chase. Perhaps we'll have to take a trip down and see for ourselves.
Alright, I'm dubious. I mean, I can go out, and this is me being so cynical, I know, but at the same time, you know, I've got to be pragmatic with these things, because if I believe everything, then, you know, what's the point? There's no fun in this. You know, I could take a photo of my footprint in the mud and say, I found a 41 centimetre footprint. I also found a mutilated deer with its throat ripped out and some massive claw marks in a tree. You know, put a little bit of a backstory to a massive footprint, and then you might have a bit of, like, conspiracy theory. But where's the proof? Where's the photo of this mutilated deer? Absolutely brutalised. You know, if you've got a picture of the footprint, take a picture of everything else. Where's the scratched up tree? You know, it doesn't make any sense.
Jonestown, Pennsylvania print. Throughout the years, the state of Pennsylvania has had a slew of intriguing Sasquatch encounters, with the first dating back to 1858, when there was a series of wild man sightings that put fear into the locals. Described as a hairy man that walked upright, the creature terrorized livestock and residents alike. However, perhaps the most convincing evidence that there was an unknown creature in the area occurred in August 1980, when locals in the Conemaugh Township area of Johnstown, Pennsylvania, discovered a massive print in the mud that appeared to belong to somebody or something's right foot.
Alright, well, this is a little bit more believable, because we've got a box of matches, so you can kind of, like, they did something to show a bit of scale at least. But also, look at these toe prints. I've never seen toe prints that, you know, where, like, the foot, as the foot goes out, the toes bend out as well. I mean, this thing's pinky is literally hitting a 90-degree right angle. Perfect. You know, so there's a bit more to this.
It had 6 toes and must have had a giant stride.
Oh, can I not count? 1, 2, 3, 4. I only count 5. Where's the 6th? Where's the 6th toe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it just me, or is the math not mathing?
As the second imprint of the left foot was found 8 feet away from the right. The print was found close to someone's home and was said to measure over 17 inches.
Right, let's just do some quick maths. Hang on. So if I go right up here, just bear with me 1 second. How big is a creature with an 8-foot step? Right. Well, Google has not helped me whatsoever. No, why am I on Dungeons and Dragons wiki? How does that even make sense? Make it make sense. I just want to know how big something is if it's got an 8-foot step. Hang on. This could be something. I wish I knew maths well enough to be able to work this out myself, but I'm just thick as shit. Nope. Yeah, I'm drawing blanks. Right, let's carry on with the video. Let's just assume, alright, let's take a rough estimate and say it's pretty big. That's just a rough estimate. It's pretty big.
Reports of a repugnant odour in the area were also reported, as well as bizarre noises like nothing they had heard before. The incident made the newspapers, and to this day has neither been solved or debunked.
Number 6.
Squeaky thermal. In April 2009, Michael Green shot 3 minutes of video through a thermal imager. The footage was filmed in the Uwharrie National Forest in North Carolina. Green, a retired Chief of State fraud investigator, had been searching for Sasquatch for the past 20 years, and believes he finally found proof of the elusive beast. In 2008, he briefly saw the creature in the National Forest, and over the next year, frequently returned, trying to encourage it to show its face again. He camped out overnight and left out bananas, apples, peanut butter, Zagnut bars, and little squeaky toys, hence the squeaky thermal as the clip is known. His patience finally paid off when at around 11:30 PM on April 28, 2009, Green heard rustling in the woods. He set up the thermal imager and put it on a tripod with a digital video recorder and left the area.
This clip is notorious in the Bigfoot, UFO, cryptozoology place, right? This is probably one of the most famous Bigfoot photos, but it is almost also one of the most contested, because people have reconstructed this to high heaven with people alleging that this is just a normal size human, which it is, in a costume taking steps. It's this. I don't know where to swing with this one.
He then parked up and waited 2 hours before returning. By this time, the battery on the imager was dead, but the bait was gone.
What a
Before
surprise!
I show you what was recorded, it's worth noting that a thermal imager only sees images made by heat. So, for example, if a man...
Oh wait, no, that last photo must not be part of this then. If it was thermal, ignore what I just said. But that photo is still like up in the air.
man was dressed in a costume, the image would be patchy and irregular, as his costume would suppress the body heat, whereas a naked man or other creature would appear primarily as a solid colour. Take a look.
Right, let's see.
Green estimates the creature was around 7.5 feet tall, although it's hard to be exact. It took one of the Zagnut bars before retreating backwards and then reappearing, swaying slowly back and forth. Is this, as some have suggested, an actual Sasquatch or some other unidentified creature? What do you think?
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I can't lie. Let me see that again.
Is this...
I mean, we can't see the bottom half, which is annoying, and it's hard. I'm assuming this is ground, which would that make it 7.5 foot? I don't know. Maybe on a good day, but I mean,
this, as some...
It does look like. I mean, we've not got a lot to work with here.
And then reappearing, swaying slowly back and forth.
It does look like the heat. So we've got like what looks like an arm. The heat cuts out for like a torso, and then we've got a head, which would be exposed. And if you're wearing a t-shirt, your arm's exposed. Maybe someone's wearing a t-shirt and just fancied a little nibble on some... I don't know. People go to the woods to do all sorts of crazy shit. Maybe people got not zoomies, got the munchies.
Is this, as some have suggested, an actual Sasquatch or some other unidentified creature? What do you think? Life-changing horror in Canada.
Okay.
This next true encounter happened in Canada, near the city of Nugent in Hudson Bay. Cynthia Guem had moved from Eastern Europe to Canada as a child and was an avid explorer, often venturing out into the snow-covered wilderness. After a particularly bad week, Cynthia, then 26 years old, decided to spend the weekend exploring. As he ventured out into the snow, he followed an unfamiliar path and was shocked when he came across a huge mound of excrement. He didn't think much of it, he just figured it was a bear or some other creature. After trekking further, he became aware of an overwhelming stench. He looked around to see the source and discovered something had urinated over a tree. And this was not an average amount of urine, it was a vast quantity. Again, he didn't think too much of it and carried on and set up camp. As darkness set in, Cynthia sat admiring the stars. The flames from the campfire lit up the trees behind him, and he caught sight of a face. It had pink human features, but it wasn't a human. Whatever it was hurried away, but Cynthia was so disturbed that he felt he needed to get away. However, in the dark, that wasn't a viable option, so instead he built the fire as big as he could to try and deter what it was that was watching him. As he tried to settle, he heard a nightmare-inducing scream. He couldn't see anything, but knew something was there. Things got worse as more screams were heard, and the noise encompassed him.
Okay.
He had to make a decision to get out of there. He felt that he had stumbled into Bigfoot territory, and there was more than one creature surrounding him.
Show me!
Terrified, he made a run for it. As he ran, he bumped into something, but managed to get up and kept going. He could still hear the screaming of the creatures, but he just kept running. Instead of getting away from the noise, he seemed to be running towards it. In the darkness, he spotted the outline of more than one bipedal creature, slamming their huge arms into the ground and jumping up and down.
Oh, wow.
Before he knew it, he was being chased. In the darkness, he found himself airborne as he plunged down a bank. No longer able to carry on, he lay injured on the ground, resigned to his fate as the creatures moved closer. Suddenly there was a silence. They all retreated, and all he could hear now was the sounds of cars on a nearby road. Somehow he dragged himself to the roadside and flagged down a car. Sincere spent many weeks in hospital to treat his physical and psychological injuries. However, despite his vivid claims about Bigfoot chasing him, he was considered sane. Once he was released, he didn't talk about what happened. This story came from leaked hospital records.
Oh, wow!
And the whereabouts of Sincere are unknown.
Right, that gives this story some validity, because if he comes out and he writes a book, publishes it, makes a shit ton of money off the back of an encounter, you'd be like, oh, well, there's the motive. But if this has come from leaked hospital records, it's completely different, because he's clearly not spoken about it for publicity, for money, for whatever. He's done it. Well, he hasn't even done it. It just came from leaked medical records. By the way, who's got leaked medical records? Why is that not the talking point? Like, I'm here talking about a Bigfoot encounter. Actually, the biggest, scariest thing here is that the medical records got leaked.
Jacob's Bigfoot. We featured this one before, but it's so strange we thought we'd feature it again for those who haven't seen it. In 2007, Bigfoot enthusiasts went wild when Rick Jacobs captured 2 images of what people believe is a young Bigfoot roaming the Allegheny National Forest in northwest Pennsylvania. Rick was using a Bushnell trial camera attached to a tree to track deer in the woods, ready for the fall deer hunt. However, when he looked through the footage, he noticed something unusual.
Okay.
At first, you can see bear cubs walking past the camera.
I think I've seen this.
Sniffing the deer bait and mineral block put down by Rick. Then, shortly after, the unidentified animal can be seen walking past in 2 shots. The camera has around a 30-second delay per photo, so the camera only managed to take 2 photographs of the creature. It's believed by many to be nothing more than a bear with a skin disease, whilst others believe it is some sort of primate and very unlikely to be a bear, even though there is no primates roaming the woods in northwest Pennsylvania. The other explanation is it's a juvenile Bigfoot. What do you think?
I can't just help but feel that it's just a bear. Like, I looked at it and I was like, that's a bear. And then I was waiting for the Bigfoot footage, and then he was like, oh no, this is it. And I was like, ah. But it does look ape-like. If you look at this photo in particular, hind legs, front legs longer than the hind legs, which is not typical for a bear. And it looks too skinny to be a bear as well. It could be a cub. I don't know. It's definitely an odd one. Definitely an odd one. I don't know what to make of that.
There is no primates roaming the woods in northwest Pennsylvania. The other explanation is it's a juvenile Bigfoot. What do you think? Real or fake? In 2013, 3 Russian school children claimed to have filmed a Yeti in the trees in the Kemerovo region of southern Siberia.
Okay.
The blurred footage taken on one of the boys' mobile phones shows them following giant footprints in the snow. As they get closer to the bushes, they see a figure about 50 meters in front of them. Take a look.
I literally see nothing. Oh, I see it.
It appeared to notice them as well, and moved sharply.
Right at the
running
back.
off. The boys, who appeared shocked, ran in the opposite direction. Experts reviewed the footage and believed it was genuine. However, whether the figure was a Yeti or there was a more plausible explanation has never been confirmed. What do you think?
I mean, the footprints are weird. I mean, the footprints don't actually coincide with the alleged height of this beast, because the footprints are like as opposed to like boom, 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 boom. So that one doesn't quite make sense unless there's like a couple walking behind each other to cover. That's something that animals do, right? To cover the tracks of how many there are of them. So, if that makes sense. Anyway.
Hike from hell. In 2009, an experienced hiker, who we will call John, travelled to Redding, California
to
catch up with an old college friend and do a spot of hiking. The trip was going well until on the 3rd day his friend was feeling unwell, so he went alone. The hike would take John along Lake Shasta, where he intended to take photos of the stunning views. However, after 2 miles of hiking, John realised he had left his camera behind.
Oh, what a
Extremely
mistake to make her.
John decided to carry on anyway. As he weaved through the trees towards his next destination, John got the odd feeling that he was not alone, so he stopped and looked around.
Have you ever had that feeling, by the way? The feeling where you just aren't on your own. It is the strangest feeling ever.
But could see nothing. Feeling vulnerable and alone deep in the forest, John retrieved his knife from his backpack.
Okay.
He carried on walking, checking as he went, when suddenly he heard a rock hitting a tree. By now, John was getting nervous and stepped up his pace. As he walked, he could hear a loud cracking coming from his right, followed by a rock thrown in front of him. John could also hear footsteps behind him. When he reached a clearing, he was relieved, until he realised the only way back was the way he came. John reached for his phone, but there was zero signal. His only escape was to go back through the forest. After some time, John decided to go for it and moved as quickly as he could, racked with fear and aware that whatever it was still following him.
Okay.
As he stepped at the pace, so did the follower. And just as John thought he was getting to the end, he tripped on a root and face planted into the undergrowth.
Ooh.
John lay there briefly before realising his knee was in great pain. As he looked at his damaged knee, to the left, something stood over him. It was tall, covered in reddish-brown hair, and looked like an ape. It had a hairy face with greyish skin underneath, and it was staring right at him. Injured and terrified, John got up and slowly limped away. Thankfully, the creature did not follow this time, and he made it back to his car safely.
What about his mate? Where's his mate?
John is convinced he encountered a Bigfoot that day, an intelligent creature that backed off once it knew he was hurt. He has since returned to Lake Shasta and has...
Imagine that, the creature just like looks over you and she's like, I'm fucking with you. You're in a bad way. I'm just fucking messing. I'll leave now. See you later. You know, my work here is done. Nah. Why? What purpose is the Bigfoot? Like, what Bigfoot? If it's real, this phenomena, this myth, legend, it just turns up, chases someone, and it's just. I don't know what that was, but it was fantastic. Chases someone, and then like they trip over, bash their face, bash their knee, and then the Bigfoot's like, "Oh, you look hurt. Do you need to? Actually, do you know what? I'm just gonna go." No, come on, man.
Never seen it again, but he has done countless hours of research and believes the creature was more intelligent than a normal animal, although he still has no idea what he encountered that day. What do you think chased John in that forest? So that's it for this video.
What's your thoughts and opinions? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Tick on my little bell to get notified whenever we upload to the channel. And what's your opinion on Bigfoot? Real? Fake? Let me know. Anyway, until next time, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. Can't wait to see the next one, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.